Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you a story time video in which I'm going to talk about my reading journey so far in my life. I've got many questions regarding when I started reading and how my reading life has been so far and how I'm able to read many books. Have I been like this forever in my life or did I just change after a certain point? I'm going to talk about all those things in this video. There will be some things which I've talked about in previous videos also, but I'll be explaining them in detail here. I don't know whether this video is going to be short or long. I have some things written down, but I don't know how much I'm going to talk about. So without any further ado, let's get into the story right away. Okay, starting from the beginning, I can say that my reading journey started when I was as young as when I was in 3rd standard. Okay, that was the time during which I had one of my cousins and he used to buy a lot of children's magazines, and after he's done reading them, he'll just pass it on to us, and I and my brother will just sit along together and we'll just go through those magazines and do all the activities that are put into them. So that was, I can say, like one of the major triggering points for me to get interested in reading because I just liked doing it. I don't know what the reason was back then, but I was just interested in reading books, and it started mainly with magazines. And after that, my mother used to take me to the library every week when she went there. I can remember that my mother used to go to the library only on the weekends, either on Saturday or Sunday, because that was the only time when she got some rest from work. So when she goes, she'll take me along with her and she'll borrow like 3 books from the library, and of those 3 books she'll allow me to borrow a book sometimes, and most of the times I'll not borrow books from her because I'll not have the time to read because of school and all other things. But mostly I'll just sit down while my mother's just browsing through the shelves. I'll take up some book and sit down on the desk and just keep reading for like 1 or 2 hours, because that's the amount of time my mother will spend, because that's the only place that she used to go out for relaxation, and I'll just go along with her. So I can say that that's how my reading journey started, and this just went on until I was in like 6th standard or something. And after that, the studies just got a bit more piled up and my reading taste and reading material also changed then. Now moving on to 7th and 8th standard, this was also a major portion of my life during which I read magazines only a lot, and I can say that there were like these 2 magazines which I read the most. The first one is Manorama Tell Me Why. I'm sure that many people who are in India are very much familiar with Tell Me Why, because I actually have a collection of at least 40 or 50 Manorama Tell Me Why magazines in the loft right now. If I pick it down, there will be a lot of dust, I'm sure of it, but I still have it because I know that all those magazines are filled with a lot of facts and information, and they will help me sometime or the other in the future. I'm definitely not going to pass it on to anyone because they totally belong to me. And the main reason why I was able to read those magazines is because of my mother and father alone. Okay, because each and every time I asked for the magazine, they'll just buy it for me from one of the newspaper stalls in Central Station. Okay, I can still remember that if I don't get the magazine on the day that I asked, or within that specific week when I asked, if they don't buy it for me, I'll just feel so sad and I'll just have a long face and I'll be angry at them also. Now thinking of all those things, I feel so bad because I've been through Central Station in the peak hours as a working adult right now, and I can just understand how tough it is to just manage your way through the crowd and stop at a newspaper stall and get those magazines. Okay, even through all those stuff, they just bought me those magazines each and every month. Not even a single month. I think that I have skipped buying Tell Me Why in the whole 2 years of 7th and 8th standard. So the main reason why I got them was my parents, and they did not falter at all. Okay, the thing for them was that I asked the magazine and they knew that I would completely read it from page 1 to the last page, and just for that simple pleasure and habit that I was developing for myself, they just went through all that stuff and bought it for me. It didn't even cost that much. Okay, I think it cost like 20 or 25 rupees per month. It's not that huge an amount, but getting that inside Chennai while the stocks last is very difficult, and each and every month they did purchase it for me. So I can say that easily paved a huge chunk of my reading life, and it just developed the habit a lot more for me. Next, moving on to the 4 most stressful years in my life, it is my high school period. Okay, from 9th standard to 12th standard. I'm sure that any Indian student out there who's a teenager right now that is studying some grade in between 9th and 12th understand what I'm saying, because academically it was my most challenging time period. Okay, I'm one of those people who is a bit better when it comes to academics, and I was like that throughout my life. Okay, and I can say that 9th to 10th standard was my most challenging and stressful period. It was not stressful when it came to my home life, but when it came to my school life, it was completely stressful. My school was something which totally focused on marks alone, and I can say that even though it was stressful and very hard, those were like some of the most formative years of my life. And I think that if I had not gone through all those hurdles in those 4 years when it came to my academics, I don't think I would be as much skillful as I am right right now. So in those 4 years, I was not at all able to read anything at all. Okay, I think I read like 1 or 2 books max, and those were like abridged versions of classics, which I just got from school itself because of some competition or something. So yeah, in those 4 years, I did not read anything. It was not at all possible. Okay, we had some things that were going on in our personal life also. So in those 4 years, I literally read nothing apart from my academics. And after that, things started changing. It took a little bit time for me to get into reading again, because even though I wanted to read in those 4 years, I was not at all given an opportunity to. So after getting into college, I was not able to right away get into reading. One more thing which I want to tell you guys is that I know that many of my viewers are people who are in their teenagers, and they also study between 9th and 12th grade, and they are the people who keep on reading despite the academics that they have. And I'm very much proud and envious of you guys, okay, because I was not at all able to do that thing in my school life, and I feel so happy as well as jealous seeing you guys, because you are studying and at the same time you're giving time for reading also. It was definitely not something which I could even think about doing. So if you are doing that, please do feel proud about yourself, because I'm sure that most people out there cannot. Okay, we are done with the school life. Now we are getting into my college life. Okay, I can say that the 3 years in my college were not great. They were not bad. Okay, they were like so average. I cannot say that I enjoyed that college life, but it was okay. Okay, I learned a lot of stuff, and I learned many things about different people and how to handle people rather than anything else. So I'm very much grateful for that. Now, when it comes to reading in specific, in the first year of college, I did not read that much. Okay, but I started reading compared to how I was in those last 4 years in school, because in the first year of college, I started reading some novellas and short story collections, which I just got out of the college library. And sometimes there were also free audiobooks that were available on YouTube of books that did not have copyrights. So I used to listen to them also. I can say that in my first and second year of college, I did not even have a Goodreads account as far as I can remember. And only towards the ending of the first year, I started even reading Harry Potter. That was like the major portion of my first year in college. And when I moved into second year, that was the time during which I started reading a lot more because of one thing that happened to me. Okay, in my third semester of college, which is the first semester in my second year, I got some disease. Okay, I cannot say that it's a disease. It is a skin condition because of which I could not go to college for like 2 weeks completely, and I had to take complete bed rest. I'm a person who's kind of a workaholic, so I want to keep studying something or doing something continuously in order to keep myself sane. So those 2 weeks were like super annoying and stressful for me because I did not have any work to do and I was not able to do any work. So those are the 2 weeks during which I finished the fifth Harry Potter book, which is the Order of the Phoenix. And in those 2 weeks, I remember in 1 week I just binged all the 8 Harry Potter movies, and I don't remember how the rest of the 1 week went because those are all just fogged up. But in 1 week, I just remember completely I finished watching all the 8 Harry Potter movies, and in those 2 weeks I just completely read Order of the Phoenix. So that just gave me a boost in order to continue reading. And so my second year ended and I was about to enter into third year of college, and this is the major twist in my reading journey completely. Okay, in my vacation time of the second year, between second year and third year, I discovered something which was so wonderful, and it is booktube. Okay, I did not even know that there was some specific part of YouTube that was completely dedicated for talking about books, where people just discuss books and rave about them alone. Okay, that was the period during which I just found a lot of booktube channels, both Indian as well as international, and I started getting a lot of book recommendations from the hundreds of videos that I watched during my second year vacation. And I just made a huge TBR list for myself, and from then on I just started picking up books from this TBR list, and that's how I've just built my read shelf in Goodreads. Third year just went in that way itself, and because of the fact that I read a lot more compared to any other time in my life, in my third year alone I just ended up reading over 40 books during my entire third year of college itself. And I can say that the things that I learned while I was reading those books, I did not read non-fiction at all. Okay, during my entire college life I read only fiction books, and those books taught a lot of lessons for me. And I can say that anyone who's out there that thinks that fiction books cannot help you in any way and they are just read for fun, it is definitely not the fact. I was just reading fiction during college, and I can say that the things that I saw through those stories and what are the things that are actually trying to be conveyed to us by the author through the various stories that they've concocted is something which is very pure. Okay, and it can be understood by different people in different ways, and it did help me a lot in order to get through my interviews. There are some books which I read about perseverance of the characters, and I just wanted to be like those characters. Okay, I wanted to have that magnitude of perseverance in my life because I want to achieve a lot of things, and it is definitely not possible if I give up on myself. And I can easily say that reading many fiction books and seeing that caliber and characteristic inside characters boosted me a lot and made me do a lot of things in life. I can say, like, in the last month of my college life, I felt that I want to get into booktube and start a booktube channel, but I was not sure when I'll get the time because I was about to get into work. I had these 2.5 months time from the time of my last paper and the starting of my training. In those 2.5 months, I read a bit and I had to do some preparations for getting into work as well. Only after I got into training, I got this huge chunk of time that I could just spend for reading alone. When I started my training, it was also in Chennai itself, because I'm so lucky when it comes to many things that happened to me, and I got a lot of contacts from people across the world, because the training that I took was something which was kind of hi-fi, and all people from different states throughout our country are just brought into Chennai alone, and only 500 people are included in that training. I was one of them, so because of that, I got to know a lot of people across the country. That was a time during which I completely decided that there was some point after finishing this training that I'm going to start a booktube channel. I don't know how it is going to run and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to do it. That's what I decided. And in the December of 2019, I started my booktube channel, and all the people who I know through my training, they just subscribed to my channel on the same day that I started publishing videos. And I can say that most of them are even supporting me even now. There are people who share my videos in different groups. There are people who watch my videos and come back to me and say how they are, and if they want to gift some specific book for a specific person, they tell me about that person and ask me what book they can buy for them and present. All those things are really wonderful things, guys. Okay, just because of the fact that I wanted to talk loud about them to a huger audience, I was able to interact with many people and find many other people who also shared the same interest. Also, my training period was one of the times during which I started reading in very huge amounts, like 8 to 10 books per month, because I had to travel for 5 hours every day, 2 hours to and 2 hours fro, and both of them are through train and bus alone. So most of the times I'll be able to get a seat because I'll be traveling very early or very late. So because of that, the seats will always be available and I'll be able to sit down and read. And after getting into work only, I started earning also. And from then on, I just felt free to buy books, because I knew that books are some things which are just investments. You don't spend on books, you invest on books. Let it be any book that you buy, trust me, okay, there is going to be something from that book you got. Whether you know it or not, you'll be using it sometime in your life. And don't ever feel bad for spending money on books, even if it's a book that you don't like at all. I don't think the money that you spent on buying that book is a waste at all, because at the end of the day, you learn something from that book that you like or don't like. It'll definitely help you make better decisions in the future. So from then on, I started buying books. I can say that in 2019 and in the beginning of 2020, I did not buy that many books, but from the second half of 2020, or from the last 2 months of 2020 and in the major part of 2021 itself, I can say that my collection has increased manifold and I have purchased a lot of books, and I don't feel guilty for buying books right now, because I know that I'm going to read all of them and I'm going to talk about all of them to all of you guys. And based upon some of the things that I talk about certain books, it is going to affect some other people's decision in order to buy that book also. So I'm able to recommend some books which will resonate with many people, and at the same time save many other people from buying the books which they'll not end up liking. So yes guys, that was my entire reading journey so far. It started out while I was in like 2nd, 3rd standard, and it is going on until now. By this time when I'm filming this video, I have over 2,200 people other than just myself who are interested in the things that I read, and those are the people who actually choose to spend their time listening to me talk about books, which is something which I'm very much grateful for. I'm sure that this video might have resonated with you in some way or the other if you've been watching for this long, and I want to know your story also. If you're okay with sharing your stories and you feel comfortable doing it, please don't feel awkward to type a huge stanza in the comment, because I'm sure that many people out there are so much interested in knowing about other people's reading journeys, and I'm sure that I have formed this community of over 2,000 readers right now, and many of you people have even become friends with each other through my comment section. So just feel free to tell your stories in the comments below. I'd read through each and every one of them and reply also. And another thing which you have to remember is that your story might inspire someone else to read. So that's a wonderful thing that you will do. So yeah, that's it for today. If you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.